There is something deeply wrong with modern life. Not on the surface, of course. On the surface, everything looks advanced, connected, and convenient. We have unlimited entertainment in our pockets, endless information available within seconds, and more comfort than any generation before us could ever imagine. Yet despite all of this convenience, millions of people wake up every single day feeling mentally exhausted, emotionally numb, and completely disconnected from their own lives. People are losing their ability to focus. They are losing patience. They are losing ambition. And perhaps most dangerously of all, they are slowly losing the ability to be alone with their own thoughts. The average person now checks their phone countless times a day without even realizing it. The moment silence appears, they reach for stimulation. The moment discomfort appears, they search for distraction. The moment boredom arrives, they escape into scrolling, videos, pornography, gaming, notifications, or endless digital noise. And most people think this behavior is normal because everyone around them is doing the exact same thing. But what if this constant stimulation is quietly destroying an entire generation? What if the problem is not laziness, lack of talent, or lack of opportunity? What if millions of people are trapped in a cycle of overstimulation that is slowly weakening their minds, draining their motivation, and stealing their ability to live meaningful lives? Because dopamine, when constantly abused, changes the way you experience reality itself. The most valuable resource in the modern world is no longer oil, gold, or land. It is human attention. Every major platform, every social media company, every entertainment app and every algorithm is competing for one thing: your focus. The longer they keep you scrolling, the more money they make. And because billions of dollars are involved, these systems are designed by some of the smartest people in the world. Psychologists, engineers, behavioral scientists, and data analysts work together to study human behavior in extraordinary detail. They study what makes people click, what makes people stay, what keeps people emotionally stimulated, what triggers curiosity, outrage, pleasure, fear, or excitement. This is why modern technology feels almost impossible to resist sometimes. It is not simply fun. It is engineered to keep your brain engaged for as long as possible. The problem is that your brain was never designed to handle this level of stimulation every single day. Thousands of years ago, dopamine existed to help humans survive. It motivated people to seek food, relationships, movement, exploration, and achievement. It rewarded effort and encouraged behaviors necessary for survival. But in the modern world, dopamine no longer requires effort. Now stimulation is instant. You no longer need to hunt for food. You no longer need to work for entertainment. You no longer need to face discomfort before receiving pleasure. Everything is available immediately. And when the brain receives constant rewards without effort, something dangerous begins to happen. Real life starts feeling slow. One of the biggest signs of dopamine overstimulation is that ordinary life begins to feel empty and uninteresting. Reading a book becomes difficult. Studying feels painful. Working on long-term goals feels exhausting. Even sitting quietly for a few minutes feels uncomfortable. Many people today cannot focus on a single task without checking their phone repeatedly. They open social media automatically, often without even realizing they are doing it. Their attention has become fragmented into tiny pieces, and this has serious consequences. Because every meaningful achievement in life requires deep focus over long periods of time. Learning a skill requires concentration. Building a business requires patience. Creating art requires solitude. Getting physically fit requires consistency. Building strong relationships requires emotional presence. But dopamine addiction destroys your ability to tolerate slow progress. Your brain becomes conditioned to expect immediate rewards, instant entertainment, and constant novelty. As a result, anything that develops slowly begins to feel unbearable. This is why so many people quit goals after a few weeks. Not because they are incapable, but because their minds have been trained to crave stimulation instead of growth. And unfortunately, modern culture encourages this behavior constantly. People are taught to consume endlessly but struggle to create anything meaningful themselves. They scroll through other people's lives instead of building their own. They chase short bursts of pleasure while ignoring long-term fulfillment. And slowly, without realizing it, they become mentally weaker. Perhaps the most dangerous thing about modern dopamine addiction is that it gives people endless ways to escape reality. Whenever someone feels anxious, lonely, insecure, or emotionally uncomfortable, there's always another distraction waiting. Another video, another notification, another game, another scroll, another fantasy. And over time, people stop developing the ability to face difficult emotions directly. Instead of processing loneliness, they distract themselves from it. Instead of confronting insecurity, they numb themselves with stimulation. Instead of building a better life, they temporarily escape from the life they already have. This creates a cycle that becomes incredibly difficult to break. Because the more people escape discomfort, the weaker their tolerance for discomfort becomes. And discomfort is necessary for growth. No meaningful transformation happens without frustration, boredom, uncertainty, discipline, sacrifice, or emotional resistance. But modern dopamine culture teaches people to avoid all of these things at all costs. As a result, many people are constantly stimulated yet deeply unhappy at the same time. They laugh at videos all day but feel emotionally empty at night. They consume endless entertainment yet still feel disconnected from life itself. And deep down, many people know something is wrong. They can feel their attention slipping away. They can feel their motivation disappearing. They can feel themselves becoming mentally weaker. But because everyone else around them is trapped in the same cycle, it begins to feel normal. One of the clearest examples of dopamine overstimulation today is pornography. Never in human history have people had access to such intense levels of artificial stimulation with almost no effort required. The brain cannot distinguish between artificial abundance and reality as well as people think it can. When someone repeatedly overloads their reward system with intense stimulation, the brain gradually adapts by reducing sensitivity to normal pleasures. This is why many people begin losing interest in ordinary life. Real relationships feel less exciting. Real effort feels harder. Real intimacy feels more difficult. And motivation begins declining in other areas of life too. Because dopamine affects far more than pleasure. It affects drive, ambition, energy, attention, and emotional regulation. Many young men today feel constantly drained, unmotivated, anxious, and mentally scattered. Some cannot focus deeply anymore. Some struggle to commit to goals. Some lose confidence in themselves entirely. And while there are many reasons for this crisis, overstimulation plays a major role. When the brain constantly receives easy rewards, it becomes harder to pursue difficult but meaningful rewards. That is why discipline feels painful. That is why patience feels impossible. That is why so many people feel trapped between knowing what they should do and being unable to actually do it consistently. Social media has fundamentally changed the way people experience life. People no longer simply live moments. They perform them. Experiences are increasingly shaped around validation, comparison, and digital attention. And this constant comparison damages mental health in ways many people still underestimate. People compare their behind-the-scenes struggles to carefully edited highlights from strangers online. They compare their normal lives to unrealistic lifestyles constantly displayed on screens. And over time, dissatisfaction grows. People begin feeling like they are falling behind even when they are doing fine. At the same time, short-form content is training the brain to expect constant novelty every few seconds. Fast cuts, loud sounds, endless stimulation, instant emotional reactions. This weakens the brain's ability to stay focused on slower activities that require patience and concentration, and the consequences extend beyond productivity. When attention becomes fragmented, thinking becomes fragmented too. People struggle to think deeply. They struggle to reflect. They struggle to remain present. And without deep thinking, life becomes reactive instead of intentional. In a world full of distraction, the ability to focus has become rare, and rare skills become valuable. The people who will succeed in the future are not necessarily the most naturally talented people. They are the people who can maintain clarity and focus in an environment designed to destroy both. The people who can work deeply without constant distraction. The people who can delay gratification. The people who can sit with discomfort instead of escaping from it immediately. The people who can stay disciplined even when motivation disappears. These individuals will have an enormous advantage over those trapped in endless stimulation cycles. Because while most people are distracted, they will be building. While most people are consuming, they will be creating. While most people are chasing quick pleasure, they will be developing real strength. And over years, that difference becomes massive. The solution is not to abandon technology completely. The solution is to regain control over your attention. Because attention shapes your entire life. Whatever controls your attention eventually controls your future. This means learning how to tolerate boredom again. Learning how to sit in silence. Learning how to focus deeply without needing constant stimulation. Reading more. Scrolling less. Exercising consistently. Spending time away from screens. Walking without headphones sometimes. Creating instead of endlessly consuming. These habits may sound simple, but they are incredibly powerful because they help retrain the brain to appreciate slower and more meaningful forms of reward. At first, life may feel less exciting. That is normal, when the brain is overstimulated for long periods of time. Ordinary life temporarily feels dull during recovery. But eventually something beautiful begins happening. Your mind becomes calmer. Your focus becomes sharper. Your emotions become more stable. Simple things begin feeling enjoyable again. Conversations feel deeper. Work feels meaningful. Silence no longer feels threatening. And slowly, you begin reconnecting with life itself. An entire generation is being raised in an environment of endless stimulation, constant distraction, and artificial dopamine. Many people are losing their ability to focus before they even realize what is happening. They are becoming addicted to escape, addicted to noise, addicted to instant gratification. And while this may seem harmless at first, the long-term consequences are devastating. Because a distracted mind struggles to build a meaningful life. A distracted mind struggles to grow. A distracted mind struggles to become truly free. But there is still hope. Every moment you choose focus over distraction, discipline over impulse, and creation over consumption, you begin taking your mind back. And perhaps that is the real battle of modern life. Not the battle for money, not the battle for status, but the battle for your attention. Because where your attention goes, your life eventually follows.